$50,247. That is what was sitting in Priya's account when she stopped checking it. She had finally hit the number that felt safe enough. So for 18 long months, she stopped paying attention. She did not notice that her money was barely moving. Strong market gains hid the fact that she had not added a single new dollar of her own. $50,000 either becomes the year you stop being an amateur or the year you get comfortable enough to stall. Nobody warns you that $50,000 is the exact point where most people's progress quietly flatlines. I am Laurel, and I have spent over 10 years helping everyday people build real, lasting wealth. When you hit $50,000, the biggest risk is no longer making bad decisions. The real risk is making no decisions at all, simply because the number finally feels like enough. To keep moving forward, you need a clear strategy. I call this the growth ladder. 6 moves, in order, that decide if this becomes $500,000 or just stays $50,000. First, before anything else, we have to do the debt check that most people skip at this stage. A lot of people think that once they hit $50,000, high-interest debt does not matter as much anymore. They look at their overall balance on paper and feel safe. But the math does not care about how safe you feel. Here is the strict rule you must follow. Any debt with an interest rate higher than 7% must be paid off before you put another dollar into standard investments. There are no exceptions at this level of wealth. Let us look at a real example to see why this rule is so important. Imagine you have $15,000 sitting on a credit card with a 19% interest rate. At the same time, you are putting your extra cash into the stock market, hoping to make an average return of 8% each year. On paper, your investments might earn you $1,200 in a year, but that credit card debt is costing you $2,850 in interest during that exact same time. You are losing $1,650 every year just by keeping both open. You are trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. This brings us to a classic mistake. Think about a guy named Marcus, who hit $50,000 and felt rich enough to stop worrying about the small details. He left a $12,000 credit card balance untouched because his total net worth looked great on his phone screen. He convinced himself that his monthly market gains were covering it. But within 2 years, high interest quietly ate away over $4,000 of his hard-earned growth. While he thought he was moving forward, his wealth was actually standing completely still. When you ignore high-interest debt, you are handing your progress right back to the bank. Clearing anything over 7% instantly gives you a guaranteed return on your money that no stock market investment can beat. Once your high-interest debt is completely gone, your next job is to build a rock-solid safety net. Having $50,000 feels great, but it can disappear faster than you think if life throws a curveball at you. That is why you need 4 to 6 months of living expenses set aside in cash. For most people with this level of savings, that means keeping between $18,000 and $27,000 strictly protected. It can feel hard to leave that much money sitting out of the stock market. You might worry that you are missing out on big returns. But this money is not there to make you rich. It is there to keep you from becoming poor when something goes wrong. Consider what happens during a major life event, like a sudden job loss or an unexpected medical emergency. Imagine losing your main source of income right when the stock market takes a major dive. If all your money is invested, you will be forced to sell your stocks at a loss just to pay your rent and grocery bills. That turns temporary market drops into permanent losses. Having a dedicated safety net means you can cover your bills comfortably without ever touching your long-term investments. Where you keep this cash matters just as much as how much you save. Do not leave it in a standard checking account that pays almost zero interest. Instead, put it in a high-yield savings account that currently pays around 4 to 5% each year. This keeps your cash completely safe, gives you instant access to it whenever you need it, and helps protect your money against rising prices. Setting aside this cash gives you complete peace of mind. It turns potential life disasters into minor slowdowns, allowing the rest of your wealth to keep growing safely in the background. Now that your cash safety net is in place, your very next priority is to claim the single best investment deal available to you. This is your employer 401k match, and it is truly the last free money you will ever be offered in your financial life. Passing it up is like walking past a pile of free cash on the sidewalk and leaving it behind. The math here is as simple and powerful as it gets. If your company matches 100% of what you put in up to a certain point, that is an immediate 100% guaranteed return on your investment. If they offer a 50% match, that is an instant 50% return on day one. No stock, property, or crypto investment on the planet can promise you those kinds of returns without any risk. When you skip this step, you are directly throwing away money that belongs to you as part of your pay. If your company offers a 4% match on a $75,000 salary and you choose not to contribute, you are walking away from $3,000 of free pay every single year. Over 10 years, missing out on that match and the growth that comes with it costs you well over $40,000 in lost wealth. It does not matter if you want to invest in other things later. Before you buy a single individual stock or explore any other opportunity, make sure you put enough into your workplace plan to collect every single cent your company offers to match. It is the easiest, safest step you can take to speed up your path from $50,000 to true financial freedom. Once you have secured your employer match, you need to invest your next dollars in tax-advantaged accounts in a very specific order. Following this order ensures that you keep as much of your future growth protected from taxes as possible. First, fill up a Roth IRA up to its annual limit of $7,500. This account lets you invest post-tax money so that all of your future investment earnings grow without creating a tax bill when you make withdrawals in retirement. Second, max out a health savings account, or HSA, up to the individual limit of $4,400. This account reduces your taxable income today, allows your balance to grow uninterrupted, and lets you spend the funds tax-free on qualified healthcare costs at any time. Third, direct any remaining investment dollars back into your workplace 401k beyond the match, up to the maximum limit of $24,500. This step lowers your current income tax bracket while allowing you to shield larger amounts of money from immediate taxes. When you follow this system, your $50,000 starting base begins working at full power. Consider what happens over a long time horizon. If you leave your initial $50,000 invested and consistently add $1,000 every month through these tax-advantaged accounts, an average 8% annual market return will grow your wealth to over $800,000 in 20 years. Reaching your goals is not about finding risky shortcuts. It is about placing your money into the right accounts, in the correct order, so that compound growth can do the heavy lifting for you. Now that your tax-advantaged accounts are set up, you need to choose what to actually buy inside them. The best core investment vehicle for building long-term wealth is a broad total market index fund, such as the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, known by the ticker VTI. This single fund gives you instant ownership in thousands of companies all at once, and it charges an ultra-low expense ratio of just 0.03%. That means for every $10,000 you invest, you pay only $3 per year in management fees, allowing nearly all of your investment returns to stay in your portfolio. Trying to beat the market by picking individual stocks might sound exciting, but even the highest-paid professionals routinely fail at it. Research from Morningstar shows that nearly 80% of professional stock-picking funds fail to beat a simple index fund over a 10-year period. If professional managers with teams of financial analysts cannot consistently beat the market, you should not waste your time or risk your hard-earned money trying to pick individual winning stocks. Your required action right now is to turn on automatic monthly investments into a low-cost total market index fund so your money consistently builds wealth in the background. At $50,000, your money reaches a tipping point where compound growth begins to do more heavy lifting than your monthly paycheck. To see the true power of reaching this stage, look at what happens to that $50,000 if you never add another single dollar to it. Assuming an average annual return of 8%, your initial $50,000 lump sum grows to over $107,000 in 10 years. In 20 years, that exact same balance reaches more than $233,000. Give it 30 years, and your $50,000 turns into over $503,000 completely on its own. That is more than 10 times your starting amount without putting in any extra work. Now consider the huge financial cost of waiting or staying stalled at $50,000. Delaying your plan by just 5 years cuts your long-term results dramatically. If you let that $50,000 compound for 25 years instead of 30, your final total ends up at around $342,000 instead of $503,000. That 5-year delay costs you more than $160,000 in lost wealth. In fact, waiting just one single year to get your money moving costs you over $37,000 in future growth. The math proves that $50,000 is the exact launchpad where time becomes your greatest money-making asset. Every year you let this number sit still or stay unorganized, you are giving away tens of thousands of dollars in future freedom. Putting this starting base to work right now locks in the life-changing payoff you have already earned. Hitting $50,000 is a major milestone, but it is also where many people accidentally ruin their financial progress. Once your account balance reaches 5 figures, 3 dangerous mindsets suddenly appear. The first mistake is falling into "I have already made it" complacency, where you stop adding new money because your total balance feels big enough. Pausing your monthly savings for just 2 years at this stage can cost you more than $50,000 in lost future growth over the long run. The second mistake is triggering an expensive lifestyle upgrade just because you reached a round number. Research on lifestyle inflation shows that taking on higher monthly bills eats away your extra cash flow, leading over 40% of people to rely on credit cards for daily expenses. The third mistake is chasing hot assets or trendy investments to quickly catch up to your peers. Recent industry data shows that investors who jump in and out of hot trends lose roughly 15% of their potential investment returns each year due to poor market timing. Recognizing these traps keeps your focus sharp, so your $50,000 baseline can keep growing into real, lasting wealth. How you carry out these steps should match your current stage of life. If you are single with no dependents, you can take on a bit more risk and save aggressive amounts of your income into your retirement accounts. If you have a family relying on you, keep your safety net closer to 6 months of expenses, so your household stays protected no matter what happens. Once your basic setup is running, you can add an optional advanced layer to boost your results. A great move is using your health savings account as a stealth retirement account. If you pay your daily medical bills out of pocket and save the receipts, your HSA balance stays invested to grow tax-free for decades, while you hold on to the ability to reimburse yourself whenever you choose. Reaching $50,000 is not the finish line of your financial journey. It is the exact point where you shift from a worker chasing money to an investor building an engine that generates its own income. $50,000 is not a trophy to celebrate. It is the launchpad where your money finally takes over the hard work for you. Please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel to keep this community growing strong. Always do your own research and verify all the details before investing your hard-earned funds anywhere. Your future wealth depends on the smart actions you choose to take today.